The European Union is terrified negotiations for a post-Brexit trade deal will leave the bloc grappling with the same nightmarish conditions struck with another partner, BBC's Katja Adler claimed. The European Union and the British government have been engaged in a series of tense rounds of trade negotiations in an attempt to strike a trade deal covering their post-Brexit relations. Brussels insisted the UK has to agree to a level playing field of regulations to avoid undue and unfair competition, but the bloc has rejected the demands. BBC Europe editor Katja Adler claimed the stance of the UK and the EU diverges significantly as the bloc wants to avoid ending up with a similar agreement as to one already in place with one of its trade partners. Using a pasta-inspired analogy to explain London and Brussels' position, Ms. Adler said, "If you have a look at ravioli, so little pockets, then for your main course you can just have one big one called a raviolo, which is like this big pillow." The EU basically wants a big pillow and we want lots of little ravioli. The EU's idea there is it goes to bed at night and its nightmare is Switzerland, which is a whole series of mini-deal. More than 150 deal, I think. Ms. Adler continued, "It's been trying for ages now to force Switzerland into one agreement because that basically gives it a stick. If Switzerland misbehaves as it wanted to over freedom of movement, then the EU says, fine, then we're going to take away our recognition when it comes to financial services. It just gives the EU much more control over the whole structure of it because when you talk about governance it's also, what happens when one or the other party breaks the agreement in the treaty? But with the British government eager to end all types of influence Brussels has had on British laws and trade during its membership, the two parties are likely to lock horns again before a conclusive deal is agreed." The coronavirus pandemic sparked speculation Prime Minister Boris Johnson could relent on his pledge not to request an extension of the transition period.